G'day guys, Macca with the Our Circle, and today we're going to talk about the $62 million lawsuit being filed against Games Workshop by the apparently Reverend David Moore. Wow. This is an interesting document to say the least. This is the affidavit in support of his complaint. And it is like reading the comments section on Bell of Lost Souls. It reads like a rant. Now, I thought affidavits were supposed to be about facts. Here's what happened. Not the how I felt, what the character is of the company in this case that you're talking about. Like, you're just giving a statement of facts. The judge looking at this does not want to hear that, you think Games Workshop is a bunch of gangsters or something like that. Like, they just want to know the facts. What do you say happened? And you've written it out and all that kind of thing. You've written it out, got it witnessed. It's a legal document. It is basically your statement of evidence. Let's just have a look through this and see if we've got some interesting claims in here, or talk about some of the more interesting claims. What the plaintiff is talking about in this case is that he owned a store. Games Workshop set up a store nearby to him of their own, and also that they will sell to people who are also close to the plaintiff's store. This is not new. This is something Games Workshop's done for a long time, and they do it all over the world. Why? Because they're going after the market in that area. Perhaps you could get a judgment against them because it is a bit rude. It does kind of violate some of the laws about competitiveness, but at the same time, this is not the way to go about it. And I'm no lawyer, so maybe he's right, but just based off my common sense and my weak understanding of American law, he talks a lot about Games Workshop selling products at a certain percentage, and then he would then buy those products, and then the products would be charged at a higher rate than what his contract said. Yeah, that's shit. But he also states that they refunded him the amounts in most cases. So then they haven't committed a crime. You see, this is something that happens with every business. Happens with my own, happens with companies I've worked for. You get a quote, you get parts delivered, items delivered by courier or freight or whatever. They rock into your business, you sign off for them, next thing you get a bill in the mail that says you owe an X amount of money. And you go, hang on a minute, that's not what the paperwork states. You then liaise back and forth a few times with the company, and generally they go, yep, sorry, we stuffed up. Why does this happen? Because everything's run on computer systems, and, one day Mike, who normally runs dispatch, well, he's sick, so instead Debbie's stepping into dispatch today, or, maybe Debbie was the one who spoke to you in the first place, and Debbie had the order all down pat, and then Debbie instead takes leave, or she's sick, and then Bob steps into Debbie's position, and Bob doesn't really know what he's doing, or, doesn't matter. It happens all the time. You can't go after a company for that. Some things are interesting to note. How he had purchased models that were then never delivered. Okay, that's a legitimate grievance. But there are ways of talking about that. For example, here in Australia, if I have a company that I purchase off and they fail to deliver on the product, you can approach the company about it. They still fail to deliver. That's what the Ombudsman's there for. You don't need to escalate to a lawsuit. Also, $62 million. So I just got to say that again, like $62 million. How do you come to that figure? How do you arrive at a figure that crazy? Like, he talks about how San Diego Comic-Con generates $135 million in 4 days. So you're asking for the equivalent of 2 days of San Diego Comic-Con's revenue from Games Workshop for basically just fucking you around. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, Games Workshop, they treat people like shit. But they're doing a lot to turn that around right now. If you want to file this lawsuit, 2 or 3 years ago, that was the right time to do it. Now, no. I'm sorry, but the time has passed. This sort of lawsuit should have been put together by brick and mortar stores, by third-party salespeople, should have all got together and filed a class action 3 or 4 years ago. Not right now. Right now, Games Workshop, while still having some terrible business practices, is also doing a lot of good things right now. They're doing more for the hobby than they have in at least a decade. They're talking to the community again, they're actually going out to competitions again, they're trying to engage with people, they're trying to get feedback, whether it's good or bad, but they're out there doing it. So, the Games Workshop trains a sociopath cult of gossipers rewarded for, I don't know that word, calumny? Is that an American word? They fabricate to undermine any novel marketing success, professionalism, or originality like the plaintiff. Well, the thing is, Games Workshop openly admits that they recruit, well, Kirby used to admit openly that he recruited for attitude, not the level of skill people had. Because charisma sells. If you've got someone who can walk in, I know it with sales managers I know and account managers I know, when they walk in and they can sit down with the customer, tell a story, get on with them, 5 minutes, the customer is laughing, having a good chat, they're the sort of people who sell. Someone who is academically gifted but lacks those people powers, the ability to really talk to people, they don't sell. That's why they hire for attitude. And you'll find that, some of these people are sociopaths. A lot of these people are also really strong-willed. They really care about themselves, even more so than they care about the company. But that's what allows them to be such strong orators and such charismatic people, is because they're so narcissistic. So again, it's irrelevant. I don't know why that's even in there. Games Workshop has a long reputation for idiocy and immature retaliation against any private person speaking truth about their antics. Facebook has a Games Workshop page for the public, but Games Workshop ruthlessly ejects anyone stating facts they don't like. They impede free speech to lie to the public. Okay, first of all, it's their Facebook page. They can block or eject anyone they like. I don't agree with it, but that's not breaking... it's not breaking rules. It's their private Facebook page. They can do that. Now again, everyone on this channel, if you've been watching it for a while, you know I don't like Games Workshop, but I'm not going to fuck on them for the sake of it. I have asked questions before that they just don't answer. Yes, their Facebook page seems to like to answer the obvious questions. So when I ask, why did you make this creative design decision? I'm greeted with silence. But when someone else says, oh, you're a bunch of fuckstains, well, their comment gets deleted, obviously. It's all about how you phrase the question. And I've actually been really polite to Games Workshop on Facebook, unlike how I am on this channel, where I'm often quite derogatory towards them and their staff. Let's face it. Although it is also the Australian way. Every second word should be a swear word or curse word, if you will. So, don't take it personally. But yeah, it's their Facebook page. They can say whatever they like. They can get rid of whoever they like. Just as it's your right to like their page, not like their page, comment, not comment. They're your options. As for immature retaliation against any private person, look, they don't tend to come after people individually. Games Workshop, they generally will just block people. Unless you do something really bad, like you harass their staff or something like that, they're not going to come after you. It's just not worth it to them for so many reasons. Anyway, let's look at some more of these. Stores and similar retailers. Stores in the bold refers to the plaintiff's store. And similar retailers / distributors built Games Workshop's business in America from nothing for over 20 plus years. Now, Games Workshop breaks antitrust laws in an organised crime of price fixing to steal business from us with their improper online sales manipulation. Yeah. You could word that a lot better without potentially being slanderous. Because, like, slander and libel is a very tricky slope. Yes, it's hard for them to prove, but don't give them too much fuel to prove it with that you're being slanderous. Using phrases like organised crime is bad. Alleging that someone is engaged in price fixing and referring to specific dictionary definitions and such and legal definitions is okay. But organised crime, that kind of thing, you shouldn't get into that. The Sherman Antitrust Act, again, American law, from what I can tell, it's about basically trying to stop things from being too... I think it has something to do with going back to like when they broke up Standard Oil and that kind of thing, but again, I'm not an American expert, nor am I wanting to talk about the American legalities. I just want to talk about how this person has worded their claim. Even for me, someone who really doesn't like a lot of what Games Workshop has done, this is insane. Games Workshop sells 1-inch models like the Imperial Space Marine for $30 retail online, requiring a minimum of $10 shipping. Stores contacted the VP of Double Grand, associate of Games Workshop's Asian suppliers, and received a confirmed quote of 3 cents per figure for said 1-inch injection molded plastic figures. Games Workshop sells mass-produced plastic at 50,000% markup. It's not a 100% markup for 6 cents, not at 1,000% for 60 cents, but 50,000% at $30. Okay. Few flaws with this. First, we'll go over the grammar and such. 50,000% markup, exclamation mark. That's irrelevant. Doesn't matter what the percentage of the markup or any of that is. An affidavit is a statement of facts, not, about the minutiae of said facts. You could say it's a 50,000% markup. It's 50,000 times that amount. It's, yeah, you could do that, and that's what this guy's done, but that's not how you should do it. The way that it should probably be rewritten, to me, is just a $30 retail online requiring minimum $10 shipping. The model costs 3 cents per figurine, and is marked up significantly to reach the $30 figure. I don't know, something like that. But I'd sit down and think it through a little bit before I submitted it to, say, a fucking court and a judge and try to sue a multinational, multi-million-dollar company for $62 million. Second, 3 cents per figure. I'm certain that's the casting cost. So that's basically the cost of the material and the cost of running the machine. What you're not including in this is packaging, shipping, the cost of the person running the machine, most likely. Also, the sculpting, design, that kind of thing, the cost of the mold. That said, someone who does know a lot about building injection molds, working on injection molding machines, and my own mother is a manager for Australia's largest packaging company, so I can very much tell you what it costs to do packaging. It's quite cheap. When you buy in Games Workshop numbers, you're only looking at like 30 to 50 cents a box for the high detail boxes. So, it's not crazy. It's all about volume. The more you buy, the cheaper it gets. Companies are funny like that. Except Games Workshop. Anyway, 3 cents per figure. You've got to add to that the amount of figures you expect to sell. Let's say you want to sell 1,000 figures, and you have a mold that's going to cost $30,000. Well, you now have to go, okay, I need to get my 1,000 of this model sold out of this machine, and I need to make a profit. So, at $30,000 for the mold, selling an expected amount of 1,000 figures, I need to charge a minimum of $30 just to break even. This is $30, irrelevant of this Imperial Space Marine. I'm just giving an example here. You have $30,000 now of mold. You're selling your model for $30 minimum. You've then got to factor in this amount of cents per figure, which if it's $30,000 mold, chances are it's something bigger, like a Bane blade or something like that. Going to use a lot more plastic. Let's say they use 30 cents of plastic. They use 10 times as much. So you've now got to add the 30 cents to that $30. You've then got to add in the labour. Let's say it takes 10 hours. 10 hours of a guy running this machine, he earns, let's say, $10 an hour. So we've got to spread that $1,000 that's going to cost, $100. Big mistake there. $100 of his wage is now going to be spread over the 1,000, so it's going to be 10 cents on top of that. So very quickly these costs start to add up, and then when you add 30 cents per box as well, you've added an extra $1 on, so you've got to charge at least $31 to break even. Now, of course, the company wants to make a profit. Well, this is where things get a bit dicey with Games Workshop, because we're talking about something in this example probably Land Raider sized. That's probably what it costs to make a Land Raider. If you're only going to sell 1,000. You're going to sell tens of thousands of Land Raiders though. So you'd only be looking at probably like $3 or $4. But still, that's quite different to 3 cents per figure. When you actually boil everything down and you want to make a profit, you want to be selling a Land Raider for probably $20. Games Workshop can sell it for $100 or so because, fuck it, they can. How else are you going to get one, right? Anyway, that's quite a departure, but main point here is he's misrepresenting the information a little bit, okay? And also the language is crazy. It goes on in point 15, despite their truly gross profit, stores, that's again the plaintiff, and all stores but Games Workshop's own were cheated and underlined from buying the Imperial Space Marine figures with our trade accounts to sell to our customers. Games Workshop opted to steal our needed retail sales from our stores and deserved it and had earned it. They can sell whatever they want to whoever they want. Again, they're a private company. They don't have to sell you squat. hate to break it to you, but that's the way it is. And with limited edition figures, keeping it under their own umbrella probably makes it easier to keep a track of it, that kind of thing. They're not really limited, shall we say, limited edition, because it's down to how many they can make, and they can make as many as they want with their molding machines. Machines are great like that. So it's not really a complaint you can field. Yet they want to steal in capitals and italics. Ow! But this language is so aggressive. And that's why I say it looks like it's come straight out of the Bell of Lost Souls comment section. This is an affidavit. This is a statement of facts. Here's what happened. Not a statement of grievances as such. And in longhand either. Disingenuous, paranoia, talking about infamous Dave Mosner, always fomenting a nauseating air of paranoia and disingenuous. You're talking about what you perceive as someone's personality. That's got nothing to fucking do with Games Workshop. That's ancillary to this whole argument. This blows my mind. That this guy expects $62 million is fucking crazy. Like, Chapter House had way more of an argument, or at least put it forward better than this guy does. And even then, that sort of broke even that case. Games Workshop sort of got put in their place a bit. This guy's trying to go after Games Workshop for things like copying real-life designs and claiming them as their own. The most common APC/tank is the M113. Tanks like those were called Rhinos and other names by soldiers. Games Workshop copied the M113 exactly and called it... No, they didn't. I'm sorry, but no, they didn't. Again, someone who has a lot of things they go off at Games Workshop about, but they did not copy the M13. They copied design elements of the M13, same as they copied design elements of the Mark IV tank from World War I and used it on the Land Raider. Yeah, it's got a sloped front hull. Yes, it has a rear ramp. Yes, it has a top hatch. That's it. And it's a tracked vehicle. But that's where the similarities end. M113s don't have side hatches. They also don't have twin cupolas on the front with a mixture of rockets, melter weapons and plasma weapons and flamer weapons. Yeah, occasionally they have a 50 cal or a 30 cal, 50 cal twin turret on top. Maybe they have a mortar in the back. Sure. But occasionally they'll even have a 75mm short howitzer on top, if we're going to be talking about all variants. But that's quite different to a Predator battle tank, a Vindicator siege tank, that kind of thing. Also, in an M113, the engine's mounted in the front right. There's only one driver, they're mounted on the left. They don't have a vision port and vision slit. Instead, they have a small cupola above the driver's head with periscopes. You can tell when an M113 has been well driven because usually there's teeth marks and bits of broken teeth around the front of the fucking tank from where people have been leaning against those bloody periscopes trying to drive the thing. Anyway, the point of this rambling is that they didn't just copy the M113, sorry. They looked at it and said, okay, here's an existing tank in the real world. Let's do a reimagining of it in our sci-fi universe. Same as the Mark IV tank. The Land Raider is essentially a World War I Mark IV tank, but that's all it is. They took the Mark IV tank from World War I with the side sponsons, and they put twin las cannons in them, or gigantic flamer cannons, or hurricane bolters, which kind of is like the female tanks, the Stars and Longwood. Anyway, they put an assault ramp in the front of it, as I said, up-armoured the things, obviously, cupolas on top, rear-mounted engine instead of a central-mounted engine, all kinds of crazy stuff went on. That's the way science fiction does work and how it should work. When you look at the movie Alien, it's truckers in space. Their spaceship, although a spaceship, is taking a similar concept, a concept we're familiar with, about people working an everyday job, wearing everyday clothes, with a don't really give a fuck attitude, they're just there to do a job on that ship. That's how good science fiction works. You take something people understand and you turn on its head a little bit. And that's something that, Games Workshop has done really well with 40k. Yes, they've sort of blatantly copied many people and ideas. Things like the Tyranids started out looking a lot more like xenomorphs. You see some of the early sculpts of like 2nd edition Tyranids. Yeah, they look a lot like Geiger's Alien. But Games Workshop's evolved the idea. They've moved more toward traditional insects, they've moved away from the Geiger elements, and they've made it their own thing. Which is what good fantasy does, which good science fiction does. You take an existing real-world concept, you flip it on its head. You take something that exists, you add more to it, you flesh it out, you make it your own. Directly, blatantly copying something is when you take something and you just keep it pretty much exactly how it is. You change one or two things, that's blatantly copying. And I think it's unfair of the plaintiff who wants his $62 million to call Games Workshop out for copying M113s. Yeah. Anyway, I've been talking about this for 23 minutes now. If you want to actually go through this thing in depth and talk about it with an American, I suggest you go over and look at how Spikey Bits has done their video on it. They, of course, I believe, were the ones who broke news of this to the gaming community. But, don't quote me on that, because a lot of people sent me this footage, links to this, through, like, Facebook and email and that kind of thing, and most of the clips that came to me were from Spikey Bits. So I'm assuming it was them who got the news first. In any case, this is fucking insane. The language in it is even more insane. Fuck. What do I say about this? It's like, why now? Again, like 4 or 5 years ago, I'd have probably given you the thumbs up. Use the nastiest language you can, have a go at Games Workshop, sue their fucking ass off. But this time and place we're in, with Games Workshop actually kind of trying to turn it around, whether their reasons are, because they actually give a shit or because they think it's good from a marketing standpoint, doesn't matter. They are trying to turn things around. Even I can see that. Now is not the right time to sue them. You're only going to, if you think you're going to make them turn things around by suing them, they're just going to double down on their tactics. And if they think you're ungrateful, and you do think they're spiteful, and that they will just have a go at you, because you tried to sue them, well then why would you be giving them fuel? Why would you egg them on? You're only going to make shit worse. Anyway, I'm Macca with the Outer Circle. I will link to the Spikey Bits video below. I've also put it into the same playlist as this video, so you can go and watch it for yourself. Thanks all for watching the episode, and I'll see you all next time.